ABC 13 Eyewitness News at 6:30 starts now.
Happening right now on Eyewitness News at 6:30 tonight. Of course, we're continuing our coverage on now Tropical Depression Beta.
Yes, so let's take you outside. This is what it looks like right now, where Buffalo Bayou and White Oak Bayou meet, and you can see just how much water is out there, how much it has risen, and of course we are watching debris float by as we speak. Also a live look from downtown, where Buffalo Bayou, people are anxiously watching that water rising. It's been remaining pretty steady, but unfortunately, as you can see, the rain has started back up there again.
Rain still coming down. Now a live look on the roads here this evening. You can see here high water levels. This here is out at the South Belt at Telephone. You see there, it just looks like a river instead of a road there, and that's what we've been seeing in all across our town, all across the town today. Those roadways just filled with so much water. Let's get straight over to Chief Meteorologist Travis Herzog, who is now tracking the storm. And Travis, of course, right now we are worried about the rain this is causing.
We have to get through one more night of potentially heavy rainfall. Just because Tropical Depression Beta is a depression does not reduce the threat of flooding, and we have a very large flash flood warning that has been extended until 11 o'clock this evening. And even outside of the warned zone up into Cypress back towards Katy, I'm getting a little more concerned in the short term because of the training that we are beginning to see in the northwest quadrant of Harris County. Street flooding is likely going to become an increasingly problematic issue as this feeder band just does not appear to be moving all that much. Now, it is currently avoiding and will likely completely miss this zone that has a flood advisory. This was the area of southeast Texas and Houston, Harris County into Brazoria and Galveston counties that picked up over a foot of rain in the last 24 hours. So Beta is expected to continue slowly pushing off to the east-northeast at about 5 miles per hour. And as far as that circulation goes, it won't be east of us until sometime on Wednesday afternoon. So Wednesday morning around daybreak, it's right over Houston, and then it pushes into Louisiana, and it's no longer our problem. Coming up, we'll show you future radar. We'll talk about how much rain has fallen and where we expect the most rain to fall tonight, coming up in your full forecast.
Okay, a lot to keep an eye on there, Travis. Thank you. We're also seeing more and more damage from Beta right now.
Yes, we are. Pooja Lodi is live in southeast Houston tonight, where a tree fell onto a fence there, just barely missing the home. Pooja?
Well, I want to tell you first off that the good news out here is that nobody was injured. When this tree fell down, it damaged a little bit of the roof, part of the side of the house, and actually also the neighbor's vehicle. But nobody was hurt when this happened. It was obviously very loud, very scary for the homeowners out here. And Alex, you are the son-in-law. Tell me a little bit about what happened here. Why do you think this happened?
Well, I think the ground got saturated to the point where the tree just gave. It was around 4 hours ago that my mother-in-law told my wife, said, hey, can you give us a hand out here? Because we got quite a problem out here. So once we got some pictures and we seen the scale of the thing, so we all grouped together and we came out here. We're just out here trying to lend a hand and, help out one another in these times of need.
Well, that's really wonderful. And let me tell you, you win the son-in-law award for today. But let's talk a little bit about just how saturated it is out here. It's obviously been raining all night, a lot of the day. I mean, my feet are kind of getting stuck here. Everything feels a little bit marshy. Describe to me what you're seeing and feeling.
Well, I mean, the ground right here is almost as if it's mud. We have grass, but as we can see, the rain has just saturated everything to the point where, like you said, we're over here sinking. So this tree right here, quite a couple thousand pounds, gave way and just didn't hold on anymore.
And you said that this home was actually built in the 50s, right? So we believe this tree had been here for a long time, survived several storms.
Oh yeah, it survived. It's been here, my in-laws have been here for over 20 years, and they've been through almost every storm here, and this tree had never gave way until now.
Well, thank you so much, Alex. I cannot tell you how grateful we are that everybody out here is okay, but I just want to leave you with one lasting image. Chris, if you don't mind showing over here, because I do want to show people just how saturated this ground is. Really, it makes perfect sense that something like this would happen when you talk about how much water has fallen in this area. Reporting live, Pooja Lodia, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Great pictures there, Pooja. Thank you. Now, we're also seeing heavy rain affect downtown Houston right now.
Yeah, these are those bands that Travis has been talking about, some of the training that's happening. ABC 13 Steve Campion joining us live with more on what conditions are looking like downtown. Steve, it has picked back up again, hasn't it?
Alona, sometimes I feel like these live pictures don't do this justice. It feels like somebody is just dropping a bathtub of water on you all at the same time. This is what the tropical rains feel like right now in downtown Houston. We are live in front of a very swollen Buffalo Bayou. Take a live look at this waterway that runs through the heart of downtown Houston. You know, all day we've been talking about those numbers out in the distance, the kind of gauge out here to see how high this water is. Right now, it's around 20, and all throughout the afternoon, we've seen that number go down. Instead, in the past 10 or 15 minutes or so, we've seen that water starting to rise once again. Of course, that's where the anxiety sets in, so to speak. You know, so many people, when they are out and about in this kind of weather, they get flashbacks to past tropical storms, past experiences with flooding. We caught up with one woman who said, listen, she knew this was on the way, and she had a game plan.
You know, I already made my plans, so now it's just hunker down and see what happens.
What are you thinking about tonight?
Tonight, I am about to drive my car over to a parking garage where I work, and I'm going to leave it there overnight. Please don't tow me. And my friend's going to drive me back to my house in his big truck and bring me to work tomorrow morning, so I don't have to worry about my car flooding, and I'm just going to hunker down. My house is about 3 feet off the ground, so I'm hoping that that'll be enough, but you know, with the, I don't know if you saw the proper deluge that came down a minute ago, it could hit anywhere, who knows?
What would you say to Beta?
Oh, come on, what else can we survive at this point? Like, what else?
I see it sticking up.
2020, deluge is the right word that she used out here. I'd say goodbye to Beta sooner rather than later. Off in the distance, you're looking at the trails, the pathways here at Buffalo Bayou. This is a place where people come to jog, to run, to bike. Often a place for Instagrams, people Snapchatting down here. You can see these pathways, these trails are underwater. You know, earlier when we first got out here this morning around 9 in the morning or so, the water in the Buffalo Bayou was up beyond where those lights are. So it has gone down throughout the day, like we've said, but it's certainly, it's been rising here in the past 30 minutes or so as the rain has started to fall. So cross our fingers, and we're just gonna hope that the rain lightens up here. We're live along a very wet Buffalo Bayou. Steve Campion, 13 Eyewitness News.
All right, Steve, downtown tonight. Thank you. Well, some roadways in southeast Houston looking more like rivers than streets right now.
Yeah, we've been seeing this all day long, and some of these are getting worse as we speak. Mayra Moreno live at Maikawa and Alameda Genoa. And Mayra, what are you seeing there? Doesn't look too bad behind you at that intersection.
No, it doesn't, Alona. We actually had to find a safe space here because if you go down Maikawa past Alameda Genoa, you're going to see that the road is impossible, and it's a two-way street, so it is really dangerous for anyone to try to pull off to the side. There is no shoulder there, and in most of the areas around Maikawa there are flooded underwater. I want to show you that video. Hopefully you're looking at it now, but as soon as we drove up to Maikawa, we were trying to get to the Beltway because we were hearing about a possible water rescue, but we couldn't even get past anywhere close to the Beltway or past the side streets that we saw there. It was just fully engulfed. It's just full of water there, and several vehicles were stalled out. We saw at least about 2 or 3 of them that seemed to be underwater, and we still were seeing people that were trying to go as fast as they can, you know, to some of those side streets, and you know that only makes your vehicle worse when you try to go past water extremely fast and it starts gushing into your car. So we came here to a gas station nearby to try to stay safe for just a little bit because the rain was coming down, but it did stop. Now, we did talk to Trade the Truth, and he was rescuing folks from last night and today with the relief gang. He actually helped a mom today get to her son who was stranded yesterday. Let's listen to what she told us.
My son was stuck overnight with his provider, and we had no way to get him. I tried to get him last night, and I got stuck in the flood waters. My followers know because I made a video. I was fussing about it. So we got Landon, Trade the Truth. Thank you so much. Thank y'all, Relief Gang. We appreciate it. We're happy. My mom is not stressed out now.
Yeah, and Trey was telling us that they're getting a lot of calls from people, and he says, go ahead, reach out to the relief gang if you are stuck in a dicey situation. But again, we're out here reporting on these areas to let you guys know that it is not safe. So the moment you see any type of water on the roadway, the best thing is to just back up and get to higher ground safely. Because again, as I was mentioning, there's a lot of cars that are still trying to make their way through, thinking maybe it's not as bad as it looks. But honestly, if you can't see the road, it's bad. Just turn around, don't drown, as we say all the time, and stay safe. That's the very latest out here in Southeast Houston. Mayra Moreno, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
I'm glad you got to a safe spot because, yeah, those images are pretty daunting when we see just how much water is on those roadways. Mayra, thank you. Now we're seeing all kinds of trouble spots around the Houston area, including in Clear Creek.
ABC 13 reporter Ted Oberg is there tonight. And Ted, some residents in that area saw rainfall totals of more than 10 inches just here in the past 24 hours.
Yeah, that's exactly what they got right here along Clear Creek in Pearland, Chauncey, and Alona. 10 inches in the last 24 hours. It is hard to believe, but it is also the reason for all of the flooding you see behind me. The tan house there has water in it. The house under construction here is an island. No way to get to that house or to get from it. But the good news here, I want you to see on that sign right there, the white sign, you can see the high mark for the debris. The Clear Creek has receded several inches since its high mark about 12:30 this afternoon. And yet still, people who live here are awfully nervous about tonight.
It's definitely devastating, and seeing some of these neighbors that just moved in here less than a year ago and having to deal with flooding is definitely not ideal. All this comes in from right over there, and anytime there's real bad stuff where Clear Creek overfloods, it brings it right in here. If we get another 10 inches or so like we did last night, then I'd be pretty worried that it's going to be a little bit worse.
In this neighborhood, they are watching the weather very closely, although right now, gorgeous skies. This, by the way, is supposed to be an empty lot, not a road, not a creek. The creek is blocks behind me. This is a neighborhood that is certainly eager to get dried out. We also know that this isn't the only road that's having problems. Mayra talked to you about some, and there are more even with this rain still falling, which is why a complete check of our traffic is up next.
Afternoon traffic now with Elisa Rivas.
Due to continued poor weather conditions, Metro has suspended operations for this evening. That begins tonight at 7 o'clock. They will start to draw down those routes, and they will hopefully close everything, they say, by about 8 o'clock. And we mean everything. Buses, Metro Rail, Park and Ride will finish up for the night and then shutter, and then HOV and hot lanes will remain closed for the remainder of this evening. This is why the HOV lane, this is the entrance, courtesy of our Houston TransStar cameras. You can see the water rising up onto the street. This is not too far from where Steve Campion has been this evening. This is 288, the South Freeway at McGregor, not yet reopened. The water has drained. We can now see the roadway. Cars have been towed off, but still not available between downtown and 610. One more look across the area shows us the weather conditions are still rough for drivers out there, even though there's not a lot of volume. The traffic conditions are messy. The Northwest Freeway at Fairbanks. If you have to head out this evening, and of course, emergency officials are asking you not to, please do not move barricades. They are there for your safety. They are there due to high water in many locations across the area. Travis?
All right, it's becoming more and more apparent that the northern half of Houston, Harris County is going to be under the gun when it comes to the rainfall that we're seeing tonight. Very intense feeder band has developed. The good news is I do see it lifting northward. The bad news is it may slow down once it gets into northern Harris and southern Montgomery counties. That flash flood warning has been extended until 11. Elsewhere, we're under a flash flood watch until 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. In this band, over the past 3 hours, we've seen 1, 2, 3 inches of rain right up the 290 corridor, with the highest accumulations in the vicinity of Jersey Village, and street flooding is quickly going to become an issue as these bands continue to swirl around Beta's circulation. Now, FutureTrack continues lifting that band northward. That'd be a best case scenario. We don't want it moving over the same spots like what happened last night, but then a new band materializes over Houston as the core circulation gets a little bit closer overnight, and we're looking at 3 to 6 additional inches of rain across parts of Houston and then off to the east. But by the time we get to daybreak tomorrow, if there's no major issues, we're going to be okay. And then by tomorrow afternoon, Beta is off into Louisiana and no longer our problem. So from Houston eastward, 3 to 6 inches will be fairly common, biased just to the north of I-10, but there could be isolated spots that pick up 10 inches of rain overnight. We do have some air that's converging in northern Harris County. That's why I'm a little concerned about the northern part of Houston, Harris County tonight. And then here's the circulation of beta still pushing all that water into the coastline. So a coastal flood warning continues until 7 a.m. And you can see the tide levels have come down in Galveston, but the surface still certainly very rough. It's currently 79 degrees on the island. Low clouds over downtown. That's that feeder band loaded with tropical moisture. That's why you see the band hanging so low down to the ground. So we have a chance of rain that's pretty high through the night, then to around sunrise tomorrow. Flood watch until 7 a.m. and then by tomorrow afternoon, a 20% chance of a spot shower. We're drying out on Thursday and more so for the rest of this 10-day forecast. Fall officially began today, and we've got our first true fall front in the forecast around Tuesday of next week. We'll be back right after this.
Right now, we want to take you to the Morningside Place neighborhood in southeast Harris County, where homes there aren't flooding, but neighbors are dealing with high water into their yards.
Yeah, they have a mess on their hands as well. That's where we find ABC 13's Chaz Miller with what folks there are saying about all of this water. Chaz?
Alona, yeah, this is wild to me. Like you said, we're in Morningside Place, which if you're not familiar with the neighborhood, South Stem Houston Tollway's over here, Cullen's over here. This is Vauxhall Drive behind me. It's dry, right? As you come around, though, I want to show you how much water is over here, and this is the scene that we came to when we got here about 1 or 2 o'clock this afternoon. Now, it's crazy just how a few feet can make such a big difference over here. Some of the water is starting to go down a little bit here from what we can tell in the Morningside Place neighborhood. So let's throw up some of the pictures we shot when we were here earlier today. Now, we originally had gotten a tip that there were houses that had taken on water. Thankfully, that's not the case. We did talk to one guy who said he got a little bit in his kitchen, but overall, this really has been limited to cars. You've seen a lot of damaged cars along the streets. We did see Trey the Truth's relief gang through here. Trey the Truth wasn't with them, but one of the vehicles were. They said the same thing. So far, everything they had driven through here, everybody was safe and for the most part high and dry. Now, there have been people out here today talking to us who say this is a recurring problem. They say every time it rains here, it looks something like this, and they're really blaming the drainage.
It seems like every time it rains, it floods. And we try to get answers. Nobody gives us answers. We don't have money to rebuild, you know, but it seems like every time we get a hold of somebody, nobody gives us answers. And as you can see, we're still retaining water.
It's going to flood because it's the lowest street in the neighborhood. This is my 3rd time it's singing this high. For Hard, we got 51 inches. I got 2 inches of rain. Everybody flooded on this side of the house, 5 feet of water because you got the big lake in the back.
Now, we have reached out to the Harris County Flood Control District. They're working on a statement for us as it relates to Morningside Place. I'll post that on social media once we get it. Live in Morningside Place, which is in South Harris County, I'm Chaz Miller, ABC 13 Eyewitness News.
Yeah, they've got a lot to deal with out there, Chaz. Thank you. We've got a final look at your forecast moments away.
And as we head to break, another live look at the radar and live pictures from Houston tonight. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Okay, this feeder band setting up over Houston and Harris County appears to be favoring the northern half. North of I-10 is where we're going to see a lot of heavy rain the next 2 hours. Flash flood warning continues until 11, and our team will be here with you through the night as needed to keep you updated.
All right, Travis, thank you. That's going to do it now for Eyewitness News at 6:30.
You can go to abc13.com right now for the very latest, as we're going to head over to live stream coverage there on abc13.com.